Coming to you live from Spencer, Nevada, it's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and last year we were doing traffic reports from a helicopter. Then psychiatry didn't work, so now we're movie critics. With me this week, this bunch of little piss pots. First, at night, the clothes in his closet come alive. It's Chris.
Are you writing a book?
And secondly, let's face it, the guy's a lamb chop short of a mixed grill. It's Andy.
I love mixed grills.
I thought of you when they said that line, Andy, so I had to be.
They're not very good coming back up, by the way.
Oh God. We are the 10 Point Podcast. We do movie reviews and maybe other reviews depending on what we feel like every single week. You can find us at 10pointpodcast.com, and we can find everywhere you get podcasts, be it Spotify, be it Apple Podcasts, be it everywhere that there's podcasts. You can find us there. Video
We're the number
version.
one 10-point podcast in the world.
There you go, the number one of all the 10 Point Podcasts. We're the number one. Video versions over on YouTube, our 10 Point broadcast over there. And also on Spotify, I mentioned earlier, you can get video versions there. It just plays when you start playing it on the app or otherwise. Like I say, 10pointpodcast.com for all your 10 Point Podcast needs. Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter, 10 Point Podcast there as well.
Money.
We want to hear from you.
How needs to recoup his podcast shed thing.
It's studio that he's building.
The studio that I'm building. It's going to build this weekend.
I never got my costume on, so I'm going to have to change my costume at some point here. So,
got my costume.
Well, you can put your costume on while I throw over to point number one. Hey, your costume's better than mine, I would say.
Hard and fit.
10 Point Podcast, that's us. So, point number one on the 10 Point Podcast, what is the point? So the point of this week's episode is the 1994 comedy western City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold, which Chris selected for us. Brought to us by Castle Rock Entertainment. We've done them a few times before. When Harry Met Sally, Misery, of course City Slickers, and Fracture seems to be the odd one out there. The rest all seem to kind of be quite
They didn't
simple.
design cowboy hats to go over heads.
It is the follow-up to our Season 3 Pointy Award winner, City Slickers. It won Best Score at the Pointy Awards that season, as it was the only nominee of Best Score for the entirety of Season 3. And that was the only award it won at the Pointies that year. So actually, just about the most unsuccessful film of Season 3 was City Slickers.
Yeah.
So Chris has decided to pick the sequel.
Was that not a notoriously bad season with Imaginary Dr. Parnassus and other ones and Scanner Darkly?
That could be just about right. I think you may have got more than one season rolled up into one, but I think it might have been Imaginarium around about then. Okay, City Slickers 2. I'm going to call that from now on. It is The Legend of Curly's Gold, but City Slickers 2 is enough. Written by the writing team of Lowell Gans and Babaloo Mandel. I do not know if that's a real name or not, but Babaloo. Things they wrote.
Let's have another kid. Sean can call his kid Babaloo.
No, no names with B for me.
What you got against names with B, like?
Yeah.
BJ.
All right.
Hey!
Okay, so old Lowell and Babaloo, writing team, mainly as a duo, but separately, writing credits on 1970s television, including episodes of The Odd Couple and Happy Days. So this goes way back. Lowell Gans created Laverne and Shirley, the television comedy series that is, I know of just purely from references on like Family Guy and stuff like that. But I don't actually know what the show is. But he created it. The two of them wrote Splash and Parenthood. Then they were both writers of City Slickers 1 and of City Slickers 2. A League of Their Own, Multiplicity, the movie from the 90s, a film called Greedy that I'd never heard of, that were both credited as writing, Where the Heart Is, and then Robots, the animated movie from 2005, and then Tooth Fairy, the one where The Rock is the Tooth Fairy.
Almost lost his career.
Yeah, so there you go. They've got everything from like The Odd Couple through to the Tooth Fairy, these guys have written. So a broad spectrum of time, not necessarily of genre, but of time. The film also co-written by Billy Crystal. This is basically the biggest and best thing he ever wrote, was this film. And I don't know if Chris has got a bit of trivia on this, but basically, Billy Crystal got this film made because his passion project was, I think, Mr. Saturday Night, I believe it was called, a film that came out a year or two before this, that he wrote, starred in, and directed that failed miserably. So he went in searching of some money and success. It's like,
yeah, he felt this was like a guaranteed success after the
Yeah.
first one.
City Slickers went well, we could just make another one. So basically Billy Crystal got this greenlit because he wanted to make a good film, successful film after his career went on a massive downer with his passion project. The film, directed by Paul Wieland, maybe Weiland, but I think it's Paul Wieland. This is literally the best and biggest things he directed. Mr. Bean, and I mean like the television series, bits and pieces, not like the film. City Slickers 2, a film called 66, which yes is about the World Cup from back then, but also made in like the 2000s. And then Maid of Honor, the kind of wedding rom-com starring Patrick Dempsey from about 15 years ago. And that's basically it. Other than that, he did like advert. He did like a Walker's Crisp advert and other things like that. So I don't know how the hell he's made these random films in amongst nothing. But Paul Whelan is a director, which also makes us think maybe Billy Crystal was in charge of directing and this guy was just a figurehead. But that might not be the case. Starring in the film, then, I'm going to skip Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, and Jack Palance because they're literally the same people that were in the first film. And, were in the same films and were in that film. So Billy Crystal was Mitch, Daniel Stern was Phil, and Jack Palance as Curly, and I'll leave that there. Co-starring with them as Glen, John Lovitz. Famous for being in Big, My Stepmother is an Alien, A League of Their Own, Loaded Weapon 1, not Lethal, but Loaded Weapon 1, the spoof of the Lethal Weapon movies. Then he made City Slickers 2. Most famous for being the critic in The Critic, the animated television show.
That's the one he's most famous for.
Well, we'll get onto that maybe. Crossing over with The Simpsons as the critic, and also he was a writer-producer on The Simpsons for a few seasons, was John Lovitz. The Stepford Wives, Happiness, and The Benchwarmers.
Nope.
No, what's he famous for, Andy?
He's the creepy perv in Little Nicky.
It's his little laugh. He's just sitting up in the cheese. It cracks me up, and he's all.
Get his things out, and then he dies and goes to hell, and he has to get a pineapple shoved up his ass by Hitler. It's carnage.
There we go. So when I saw Little Nicky was on, I was like, I bet they're going to say he's the guy from Little Nicky. But he was, like in the cast, he's like, I don't know, 20th in the cast. He's quite far down.
He just reminds me of Bly in Little Nicky.
Right, okay. He's just, John Lovitz is one of these people whose voice and face are very familiar because he has bit parts in lots of things.
Actually, to be fair, one of his best roles is probably in Rat Race, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last one I eliminated. I thought I might put Rat Race in. I thought,
he's amazing in Rat Race. Just when he gets the car cigarette lighter and he can't sting and he starts like doing the hand gestures and he burns that bit. That's carnage.
Anyway, there you go. So that's John Lovitz. He's the fourth star of the film. One notable person missing there. I don't know if we'll touch on it now. Bruno Kirby. We kind of thought he was good. We liked him a lot in the first. It's like, not in this one. Chris, do you know why?
I think he was like really badly allergic to horses and just refused to come back to it. There was, I'm sure there was other bits as well. I don't know whether there was conflict and stuff, but the main one was that he was allergic to horses.
That is what I heard. So no, I thought there was going to be like a rivalry or he fell out with somebody and all that. But yeah, I could not see anything otherwise. We'll definitely get back onto him because notable by his absence on a couple of occasions in the film, we'll probably get back onto him again. Okay then, City Slickers 2 on a budget of $40 million. A sequel, obviously, so it got greenlit quite easily. Opened in the US for $11.5 million.
Oh.
Final US gross, $43.5 million. Final worldwide gross, I do not have numbers beyond the US ones, so I don't actually know what it did, but it broke even on US soil with its $40 million budget, so probably why there's not a City Slickers 3, and why Billy Crystal pretty much moved on to hosting the Oscars after this. Films anymore. Released 10th of June 1994, proper midsummer movie season for this. Didn't make it to the UK till 23rd of September 1994. Meant that it was well and truly in 1995 awards season. At the so-called major awards, it got one nomination at the Golden Raspberry Awards of 1995.
It's been a long time since they turned up.
I know, it has really been a while since I've had a Razzie. Nominated for Worst Remake or Sequel, City Slickers 2.
That's fucking brutal, that. Like.
It did not win. It lost to Wyatt Earp. That was the Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp. Can't say I've seen it. I know Andy's always talking about
the name
Kevin
for
Costner.
some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, the name. He's a famous cowboy. I don't know. I think he was a genuine cowboy made into movie cowboy. But that's it in terms of the major awards. At the
It was doomed. It was 1995 awards. Those were powerful years.
all the best films of all time came around that time. At the Saturn Awards, zero nominations at the Saturn Awards. A cowboy comedy, wannabe cowboys comedy, is not the sort of thing the Saturn Awards takes note of. It only got 2 nominations ever in its history, and I've just realised I didn't write down what the other one was. So if I was able to find it quickly, I might be able to tell you what the other award it was nominated for in its history for City Slickers 2. I will do that just after I have read out the synopsis by Nick is back finally.
Yay, Nick! Finally, he's watched a film.
Finally, we're back on the Nick train of movie watching here. The other nomination that it got that wasn't the Razzie Awards was I forgot about it. Nominated at the 1994 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards for worst sequel. Let's find out if did it win. Who did it lose to? Because it did not win worst sequel. Worst sequel was Major League 2 of 1994. So there
Sounds
you go.
bad.
So nominated for 2 worst things and won neither of them. So that's not as bad. So the synopsis of City Slickers 2 by Nick goes as follows. Unable to shake off the feeling that he might have made a terrible mistake, neurotic urbanite Mitch Robbins is about to have a rendezvous with fate after an unexpected discovery. Now, 1 short year after the life-changing events of City Slickers, Mitch summons up the courage to sneak off from a Las Vegas business convention and, armed with late Curly's genuine treasure map, embarks on an exciting mission to unearth the hidden gold, along with Phil and Glen, his layabouts younger brother. Of course, this is easier said than done. Will the 3 prospectors from the big city strike it lucky? That's what City Slickers 2 was. That's the setup for City Slickers 2 necessarily. Who picked? It was Chris. Chris, why did you pick City Slickers 2?
I'll give you a little hint. The legend of Curly's gold is important to my theme. So
right. Okay.
And it was a sequel. I had some unfinished business. I just want to know what happened.
Of all the movie series that we started, you felt City Slickers was the one that we had.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Aliens to be finished off.
It'll come up, don't worry. It needs to fit into a theme, and this one did.
Okay.
There's a limit of like 3 films with. I'll give you another hint with the word gold in it. So,
is it gold by any chance, Chris?
Well, no, there's not gold in other ones.
Yeah, Clerks 2, The Legend of Nobody's Gold, and Catch Me If They Can, The Legend of No One's Gold. So,
is that about money?
No.
Okay. We'll get onto the guesses at the end once Chris has maybe given us even more.
I want guesses now.
Just I'm going to spend an hour and a half just guessing my film.
Had we seen City Slickers 2 before? I believe I have seen this film once before, and that is it.
I'm thinking I'm being Mandela effect, because I remember seeing, this could just be the first one, Billy Crystal and, I can't remember his name, what thing be Stern, sitting by the fire, just the 2 of them. But I don't know whether that was the first one or if it was this one, so I'm getting confused now, because they do sit by themselves.
I'm 99% sure I'd seen this one before City Slickers 1, because City Slickers used to be like my mum's all-time favourite film. Like, my mum absolutely loved it, but I'm pretty sure I'd seen this before I'd seen this first one.
I don't remember
which channel we normally find it on? I've got quite a strong opinion on this one, but I'll let you guys go first.
ITV.
I think it's BBC.
I've got Sky One written down. This screams Sky One movie. Not even Sky Movies one, but actual Sky One from like the late 90s. It would have been the Saturday.
Channel 6.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Number 6.
Number 6 in the sky.
It's like probably the 9 o'clock movie on Sky One, I think that's what this one is. But yeah, it is one that could be anywhere. Like we've both given a different answer. We're all given a different answer there. And which version did we watch? There is only one version. There's no unedited, no re-edited, no
bonus
rematch.
titties.
Nothing extra anywhere. No extra 1 minute of swearing or anything like that. So yeah, we all watched the same one. On to point 2 on the podcast then. Point 2 is the high points, best bits and things about the film. Chris, you get to go first.
Same high point as we started with the last one, the animated start. Again, it's just great. I love a wee animated start like that.
We're hitting a lot of animated starts.
We are. It seems to be a real trend that we've got going.
Yeah.
I've got one note on the animated start, and I'll give you a clue. It's in low points. Because once the bull was playing basketball, the opening credits had overstayed their welcome. That was where I was like, no, this is really just taking the piss out of it here. So I think
I did like there's a little hello or moo.
Inside it, yeah. So that
made me think that maybe Billy Crystal was actually doing the voice of the little guy.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, I think it was fine. But yeah, at that point I was like, oh come on, because at least we had part of the film started and then it went to the credits. Like we had a scene before the credits rolled. At that point, it's like, come on, get onto the story. I want to know what's happening. So yeah, fine until it wasn't fine anymore.
I'm gonna go for a high point. I'm gonna go for a high point early on as well. It's very much what I'm going to call now as the Mortal Kombat award.
Okay.
And it's basically when your music works in your first film, you don't change it, and you put exactly the same stuff in it right from the get-go. And that's pretty much what they did with City Slickers. It was the same song. It was in essence the same intro. It worked. You don't mess with something that's gold.
Yeah, the music throughout. I don't have it as a high point, but I've definitely put it as best score again after finding that it was
100%. There's a reason why this is the point award winner best score. It's just that song is banging, like the little Western tunes, all the music they put through it. It just works. But putting it right in at the start is the Mortal Kombat style. You can't go wrong.
It gives the right scale to it when they're outside as well. Like it feels like a proper cowboy movie when the music's up. But also it doesn't feel too out of place when they're in like the library and it's playing either. It would work. So I agree, Andy. My first high point I've got is when Mitch is out for his jog. So I don't know if Chris has got anything before the jog, but
no, I'm after.
So the reveal of his jogging buddy, because he's jogging along talking, and I'm like, he's talking to us. It's like, no, I don't think it's like, why would the person talk back? And it's not going to be one of the guys from the first one because they'd be talking back to him and we see them and then reveal that it's actually Norman the cow from the first one. Like, oh yeah, I forgot he's got landed with the cow at the end of the last one. And then that's the end of Norman, which I feel like I'm glad they put him in it because they just hadn't acknowledged him, which happens to somebody else. They just hadn't acknowledged that Norman was a part of his life.
It seems like an awfully well-trained cow to be running next to somebody. I thought it was going to fuck off into your field somewhere.
Not even on a leash or anything.
I took offence to the baby veal joke.
And that's a 1-year-old cow as well.
Yeah, it's a big cow.
Some good steaks.
So that's my first high point.
But no milk.
That's not my next high point, but that is one of my high points is Glen molesting the cow. Your cow's broken.
I had the line down here. I think I have it nominated. Maybe I don't. The cow's name is Norman. You were pulling on his dick.
Classic.
I haven't got that, but I love John Lovitz. I think he's hilarious. But
he's there's definitely a bit I like of him, but carry on, Chris.
My actual next high point is I can't remember her name. Mitch's wife's sexy phone call. Phil knew exactly what he was doing. I've got Mitch's wife on the phone. Oh yeah, I'll just put it through. Not like because you were waiting for a business call. I've got such and such from whatever business. I'll just put them through. He went, no, this is Mitch's wife, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
He didn't know though, because it was like his assistant that was putting it through. She was like, "I've got a call on line 1 for Mitch" or something like that. So I don't know how.
And then he was the one who put it on the speakerphone. No.
Yeah, he did. It's a good gag though, because like obviously the whole scene is a setup for we're getting this big business call, and then it's it's the wife. What was it? I'm gonna like shove my fingers into that cute butt of yours or something.
And then she seems like a dirty bitch.
I mean, fair play. Yeah, she really does roll out the red carpet for his birthday. Like
I can see why it only lasted 5 seconds.
Is it the same actress? It's like I don't recognize her at all because obviously they skirt around the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal is his son, but he doesn't actually appear. Like the daughter appears, but not the son, so they don't have to get Jake Gyllenhaal back in. Probably haven't aged but 3 years. Was she in the first one? I can't find her being in the first one.
It'll come up later on. Don't worry.
Okay. Oh, there she is. But,
He's got the facts. I'm
done with the facts.
So my next high point, we're back on John Lovitz. This is basically just as he was milking the cow. Him doing 10 minutes of Godfather Part 2 in the background just absolutely just slayed me. I don't know why it was so funny when he just started doing it. So I'm sure this is an indirect reference to Bruno Kirby because Bruno Kirby is in Godfather Part 2. So I imagine this is the sort of thing that he probably did. Would be like, oh yeah, when I was on set on Godfather Part 2, and then start talking about it, and then doing bits. So I think it's a bit of a joke at his expense where Bruno's not here, so we'll just write this character in his place to just do bits of Godfather Part 2, and to be just obsessed with that film, like Bruno Kirby probably was, because it probably made his career that he was in it. And then
I kind of like a related fact on that, or not fact, but like a high point on that is I like the fact is he does all the kind of movie quotes. He remembers all the stuff from Godfather, which then actually does pay off in the film, which is obviously he can remember the map.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bit where when he goes to meet Mitch at like the studio offices place where Mitch works, and he just turns into Fredo from Godfather. It's like, I'm smart, I want respects, and he starts calling him Mikey, my little brother. It's like, no. Just turns his own life into being Fredo from Godfather Part 2 is amazing. So yeah, anything that references Godfather always gets a chuckle out of me. So I very much like this Godfather obsessed guy. Who else has got a high point?
Okay.
My next one's not until Curly comes back into it.
I've got Duke as my next high point.
Mine's just I've just them in the wilderness, like wandering around and then getting caught by the guys, the rapers. I would say they're going to be the Deliverance guys.
The Deliverance guys, in more ways than one. The Deliverance guys, yeah, because one of them actually is a guy from Deliverance.
Was he?
Yeah, so not Pruitt Taylor Vince, who's the wee guy who's in everything. The other one is actually in Deliverance,
right?
Which is why the jokes again about Deliverance at them.
A minor high point before Curly actually turns up. I was absolutely gobsmacked by the size of Billy Crystal's phone.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it was such as like literally. I was watching it. I was like, look how small his phone is. And Chantal was like, was this filmed after Old School? And I was like, no. This was like 10, 15 years before Old School. And she's like, really? But Vince Vaughn's phone was bigger in Old School than Billy Crystal's one. It's like, just shows you technology.
It goes up and down, fluctuates. It's fashionable to have a big phone, then a small phone, then a big phone, then a small phone.
It does. But yeah, it literally just blew my mind the size of his phone. It was like, wow, like I was waiting for one of these big, massive things. But yeah, he's got good cell phone access, nice small phone, probably smaller than the phones that we've got now. It's like, technology. And then Duke comes into it.
Yeah, I was going to say, just before we get to Duke actually saving the day, I quite liked that the two guys weren't villains. I thought, oh, here we go. Because with the two like bad guy cowboys in the first film, when the two then came into it, I thought, oh, they're having a laugh and a joke and they're pointing and laughing and just good luck with finding your goals. And I was like, I quite like that they're not the bad guys because it'd be a bit cliche that they were. And then, of course, they chase them up the mountain. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And I couldn't work out how they were going to get out of it necessarily. The one thing I remember, it's like literally the one thing I remember of this film is that Jack Palance is in it, but doesn't play Curly because Curly died in the first one. So when Duke just jumps off a cliff onto them, it was a good save of the day.
I thought they were just going to like do like a double bluff. That this guy looks like him, but he's going to come in and be somebody else. Because I knew he was in it, but I thought it was going to like dot him a bit like Ghosts kind of thing.
Ghost Curly, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be somebody else.
And then he plays him very differently, and you could tell he's having a lot of fun.
Yes.
I won an Oscar on part 1 of this. I'm loving being back here, doing it again, and I get to do something different and be all like, whoa, energy. And I was in the Navy, I wasn't a cowboy and not still a bit grumpy, I guess.
And he was a pirate as well.
He seemed forever out of breath, though. Every time he spoke, so I just the way he was playing him, but he was always just like...
He was like 70 odd.
He was born in 1919, so this is filmed in 1993. He's a good, way north of 70 if he's at this. So yeah.
And he was like running faster. Like there's a scene where they're all three of them run. He is absolutely carrying it.
Is it a stunt man? No, it's definitely
definitely him, isn't it?
But definitely a high point. It's him first coming into, and then the film kind of, I don't know, it's a bit more fun at that point. I don't know, it's more of a comedy beforehand. It becomes more of an adventure once he comes into it, personally. Who's got another high point?
I'm not until later on, actually.
Mine is the snake.
That's before this.
Right, okay. I've got this in low points with an eye roll emoji next to it, but carry on.
I love a classic snake gag where you think you've got bitten by a snake and it turns out to be a cactus, but your best mate's going to suck on your ass.
I would have liked that better hadn't they full on mentioned the same thing earlier on. Like the fact that they literally spelt that out happening, and then as soon as the scene comes around and literally that is happening, I'm like, oh well, it's not going to be the case because they wouldn't have they would have had it be a part of the film.
So I'll just do it now. It was Phil's overreaction that just annoyed me. He was like, "Oh, I'm going blind.
No,
I can't. I lost the power of my tongue. What's happening?"
Both of the overreaction deaths are like him and Thingy when he gets shot later on. I absolutely both love them. It's just It's just the psychosomatic or whatever the word right terminology is. It's brilliant.
But at least with like when Glenn thinks he's been shot, like that is definitely a proven thing where I think I've been shot. I can feel I'm going cold and all that stuff. But for him to be like, I'm going blind, it's like really weren't going blind. So,
I think Phil's is that desperate to get some love. He just wanted somebody to suck in his ass.
Well, I don't know. Like, if I would probably have to if I was out there with you guys and I got bit by a snake,
you'd be dead. I'm not sucking on your ass.
I would reckon I was gonna have to massively overact for you guys to suck on my ass.
I would save you. It's for the record. I would expect you to save me, and I would go ahead and save you. I'm still not sure, but the whole process of putting the venom into my own mouth.
Yeah, like, don't you go and like numb in your mouth?
Yeah, the running around that Phil did, shouting and yelling, and the amount of time like that is in his system. Like, there's no way you're sucking it all the way back out to his hole in his arse with that. So he'd already left.
It actually works.
So luckily, it was just a cactus. Which, I mean, if I'm going in the desert, I am finding like behind a rock. I'm finding a nice patch where there is nothing around. There would be a cactus in 6 feet.
I'm not getting a magazine. I'm not looking. I'm constantly checking everywhere. If I'm sitting there, nothing is creeping up in my ass.
To be fair, they said it was only going to be 3 days. I've went to Download Festival not shit for 3 days because I've seen those toilets. So I would be holding it. And like, same with the jerky.
I think jerky would go through your system very quickly either. I think that's probably good.
Wait, right. Okay, this is. I was going to put in a low point. This is genuinely a high point. For the longest time, this film, I genuinely thought that's how they made beef jerky, by the way. Where taxi driver sat on it. Genuinely, I had no idea how they made beef jerky. But growing up as a kid, it's why I never had beef jerky. And then I still don't like beef jerky now. And it's that is ingrained in my head, is that's how it's made.
Tried it. I'm not sure it's something I've eaten before. I'm not sure.
But yeah, that's how I genuinely thought they made it.
They might do. They might still.
I always thought that's why like American taxis had them, like the beads in the cars, like the beaded seats.
Okay.
So they put it under the beads so they're not sitting directly on it, and that's how they make the jerky.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that actually makes quite a lot of sense.
Yeah, it all adds up when you think about it. So I'm pretty much a big jump until my next high point. So if anyone's got anything when they're in the wild here.
No, I'm near the end, I think.
Okay, so I am the reveal is my next high point. So I don't know if you're before that or not, but the actual full on of we've got to the gold, but is my next high point. So anything before then?
No.
Okay,
Not
yeah.
really.
I very much enjoyed that because I thought, they finally made it. They got to the gold, they've done the thing, and then I was like, it's a strange film. Like the story's a bit weird, and then out of nowhere, which I wasn't anticipating. I wasn't thinking, oh my god, it's all going to be a trick. The Clay Stone, apparently his name is from the first one, coming out, and just the way he's absolutely just dying, laughing at them, like pointing, laughing, and look at you idiots coming all the way, and then they're like feeling bad, and we thought, and he's still laughing at them, and then we get the Schwolowitzes showing up as well.
As this Red's come back.
Good for them to come back, and they're seen with Duke outside, where they're like waving at him, and then take a photograph. It's Duke. Where are the Schwolowitzes, whatever the names are, something like that. Well, we helped bury your brother. Oh, well, maybe I could do the same for you. Very, very passively aggressively is a good line now to remember. But yeah, I was not expect. I thought we're getting to the end of the film. Oh, they found the gold. There's going to be some sort of twist happening eventually with the gold. Like, they can only do something with it, or something's going to happen. I didn't expect
I thought those two guys were going to come back and steal it, and then we've done all this for nothing.
When the two guys came in with the masks on, and I was like, right, there's no need for them to hide their identities here. So what's the story? I look at it, I was like, have they changed the ending and couldn't get the actors to play the roles? I was like, is that what's happening here? So I tried to work out, and I was like, no, that can't be it, because it's really obvious that that's the wee one was different. It's a different guy. And it's like, oh yeah, there we go. That's the reveal is that it's like a fake sort of fun. I don't even call it like a day out thing, like an adventure day. Idea like the first one was. Well, again, it ties back into the first one. The first one was cattle rancher. This one was treasure hunter. But yeah, I liked the twist at the end, basically. Who else has got high points?
No, mine's is the actual ending where Duke just gets the gold again. Yeah, and he's just like, he's a bit of a creepy bastard. Like, and he doesn't really come up in a low point, but he then just drops like proper gold, and he's like, I told you it was there.
But also, this is a time before, like, Find My Phone, Find My Friend, tracker apps, and all that. He knows where, like, what room he's in. He's like, he knows everything.
Yeah.
Like, for an old geezer, that guy's got some, like, he must have some contacts.
You remember, like, data protection wasn't as much back then. You could just go down to a hotel and be like, oh, yeah, which room is Mr. Robbins staying in? Oh, yeah, it's room 277. Okay, then I'll pop up there then.
Can I get a key and I'll just sneak into his room?
Yeah, I'm his friend. Can I get a key? Oh, absolutely, sir. Here you go. Back those days, you could do anything. Is that us for high points then? We're right. On to point 3 then, the low points. What was up the worst bits and things where I've already said that the bull playing the basketball was enough is enough with the credits. And I've just realised I've got a guess of something I thought was going to happen that I might have to come back to. So who's got an early low point? Because I've used up my one.
Mine's is pretty much how it's exactly the same as the first film. Like, and not even just from the start. The entire film is the same as the first film. Yeah. Like, it's nice to have an homage, like the mum calling on the same time.
Yeah.
That's okay. But then to have, it's just his brothers having a bad time. There's another surprise party. They all decide to go on this cattle ranch because, like, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z.
Like, just literally because, yeah.
And then the whole thing, pretty much, even though this is finding treasure, the cattle ranch, it still plays out exactly the same, even down to a stampede.
Yep.
It's the same film, which is its biggest overlying low point. But
I missed the stampede. That was one of my high points, the stampede. The actual setup is really daft.
Yes.
But
visually looking good.
Yeah, and as far as action, it was like the action peak of the film.
Yeah,
and it's pretty good. I wasn't like, oh, they're all going to go off the edge of the cliff. Oh my no, what's going to happen? Like, oh god. But yeah, it was a bit of action, a bit of stunts, some live action stunts, which you like. But yeah, you're right. The plot is the same.
It's the same film.
There's less jeopardy, really. Like I don't feel like they were ever the previous one. I felt like they were a bit more in danger, or they could actually die out there. In this one, not really. Any other low points then?
Oh, mine is right at the start. Is Mitch's 40 shtick when he wakes up. He's like, oh, he starts doing like a little stand-up thing. He's like, oh, I feel old, and then big muscles and stuff. And I was like, it's so cringy and unnatural.
Yeah, at that point I was like, oh, we're going to nominate him for worst actor here. Like, what?
Yeah, I know.
What's Billy Crystal doing here? Because then there's another scene not long after where he's a bit iffy as well, and I'm like, what is he doing? But then he seems to settle into it as the film goes on, and he plays. But you're right, he hops out of bed, does some entirely not funny comedy, and just hops back into bed again. Like he got up purely to do the gags and get back into bed.
And then not long after that, we've already mentioned it, is the worst sex scene I think I've ever seen in my life. He didn't even take his jammies off. He was just like, in, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and done.
That's because he was trying to look for the map. He had to.
He was distracted.
Fuck the map. He's about to bang his wife.
No, maps are more important. It could be gold, Chris.
I was
so what if she finds it? Oh, what's this? I was like, oh, I just found this. I just chucked it there.
Yeah, but what if he jizzed all over the map or something like that?
It's not inside her. He's not having another kid.
The pages stick together or something. I don't know.
God.
I was sure it was going to be a setup that it was another nightmare he was having, because it was thunder and lightning outside as well, and then it was all candles everywhere, and then she goes like off screen as it were for a bit. So I was sure he was, oh, I've got the map, and oh my god, blah blah blah, and then the door was going to open and it was going to be Curly like coming out of the bathroom, and he's going to be and wake up, and that's what I thought was. So I wasn't actually like paying attention too much to what was going on. I was, but actually, it's actually happening, and then Curly's at the window.
Oh yeah, literally after the creepy bastard standing watching, going, "You do her."
Yeah.
Stand there, get his rocks off.
So my
else he was doing. Oh, he's just watching them through like other windows and stuff. And
the train one was different, where he was like Billy Crystal was definitely chasing the wrong guy at the platform. Like that
you did say he was there. He said
he was there. So he was on the train, but then like once Mitch is off onto the platform, you can see it's a different guy wearing a different hat. Like you're definitely chasing the wrong guy. So my first low point is, do you not have a photocopier? Was my first thing, because like if I was doing that, I feel like they were totally not like they had plenty of time to plan and planned the whole thing, then also didn't plan half the time, because we've got this one map. Billy Crystal's the boss of the place that he works. Surely they could photocopy it at least twice more so that everybody had a map. It's like, oh yeah, someone could come and steal it. But as far as they know, it's just a wild goose chase they're going on. They don't necessarily know there's treasure there. But of course, that comes up that they are making copies of it. But yeah, how hard would it have been when you had... And also, when he first read the map next to the candle, I'm like, do not set that on fire. Do not set that on fire. And later on, when he has the magnifying glass, I'm like, oh, please, just let this be another sort of tease that the map could, and no, he did actually set fire to it with the magnifying.
That's coming up.
I did like when they were doing the three of them were standing there, and you can see the light just zero in. You're like, oh, it's going to happen again. You can see them shooting him away.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much the stuff with the map was kind of annoyed me through. It's like, look after that damn thing. And the whole time, there's the bit missing at the top with a dotted line going towards it.
Yeah.
Like, do you not think that's going to be significant? It's like, well, come back to that. Yeah, I had the snake bite next, which I've already said everything on the snake bite. It was too silly, I think,
Yeah.
the snake bite, and also not funny. So I actually only have one more low point, so I'll save it if someone else wants to rattle off some.
Why is that like a low point? It's just Curly's brother's a prick.
I quite liked him.
He was like, I can't remember much of what Curly was like, because I don't remember him being this much of a prick.
No, he was and stay away from me.
But he was just like, he even said at the end, I had every intention of just screwing you all over and stealing it. That's just a prick move, that.
No, that's a man I can trust.
Before
you know his intentions.
Before I forget to mention it, the test for it actually being a real lump of gold was Mitch taking a bread knife, not a bread knife, a butter knife, and just doing that on the top of it. Am I wrong in thinking that isn't gold quite easily damageable?
Yeah,
like, is it not? Yeah, it's soft. So him taking a knife to it and not doing a dent on it, would that not?
I think it was more that the paint wasn't scrubbing off.
Right.
Like the last one he did it, because it was lead painted gold, they just scooped it.
And for me, it was more of a problem that why have you not done dents in it? Because gold's quite soft, which would have been a problem for me. So yeah, him proving it to us, oh, it's real gold. I was like, no, that's not what gold does. movie sort of gold. So my only other low point I'm left with now is the poorly planned night's sleep in the storm after all the provisions have gone, where they decide to just sit in the middle of the open. Like there's rocks they could have huddled in between, trees they could have gone underneath, but no. This flat bit of land here where tumbleweeds can blow into us. We should definitely sit here and try.
As me and Sean knows, like tumbleweed is a great kindler. So when that thing just turned up, they should have just put that in the little ambers they had, and it would have been woof.
Yeah,
straight up.
And there's Curly Duke in between two rocks at the background. It's like do what he's doing. He's a Navy man. And he still knows how to be a cowboy better than you. Like it's.
Yeah, but they just went and we hugged together. Friend nap.
It was weird. Glen touching and feeling his brother. Another, like he's grabbing his boss.
He wasn't know what was going on.
I don't know my brother. I don't know if
there was a little bit of House of Dragon going on there.
But I don't know why. Like Phil and Glen just went back to sleep again after he got up. Was again a bit
tired.
A bit too silly again. After it's like, oh, go look for stuff where it was. Go find what you can find. Nah, we'll just continue to sleep in the bright daylight. I would absolutely not be able to sleep in the bright daylight. As soon as the sun comes up, I'd be awake. That's me for low points. Somehow I don't have any more complaints. So who else?
My major low point is not having the original 3 back.
Yeah.
Like it really does damage us. Like his brother's all right. He's not too bad. He's there, but it does miss the dynamics of them 3.
Yeah. And also what annoyed me that's why I was worried is there a falling out was they just do not mention that he's not there. Like it's not like, I think it's Ed. I wish Ed could have been here. It's like, yeah, even like, oh, I can't be in the film, I'm allergic to horses. Okay, can we get you for a day where we can do a phone call and ask you, and you could be somewhere hilarious, like how we were in Pamplona running with the bulls. You could be somewhere, you could be like skydiving somewhere and answer your phone and be, oh no, I can't do it, I'm somewhere else. But no, just completely not have Bruno Kirby in it at all.
Yeah,
it was really.
It's weird to even mention. I said, oh, I wish we could have Ed here.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Like even if the other guys, like who they meet at the end, oh, where's your buddy? Oh yeah, we don't speak to him anymore. But yeah,
fuck him. He's dead to us.
Yeah, he's dead to us. Yeah, after we couldn't face him after what he did to us out here. Chris, any more from you?
No, I'm out.
That's for low points then. Easy does it. On to point 4 on the podcast. The statistics. The usual things I've kept track of: 6 shits, no F-bombs, no explosions, and no deaths. As in, there were no on-screen deaths. For all we know, actually, Ed might be dead. That's why they never mentioned him. But no deaths. Quotas. Surprisingly, only 1 cow. Only Norman. At the first scene we get of the kind of ranch thing where they get their horses, I could see movement in the background. But there were horses, I think. I couldn't see any cows anyway. They seem to replace everything cow-wise with horse-wise, especially the stampede. And 1 goat. There was a goat in that scene standing next to him. Goats seem to be back this year. They seem to be back in vogue. And no dead animals. None of the animals actually died. As far as I can tell, no paedophiles, no sign of the devil, and the KKK and Nazis weren't anywhere. Again, however, I think there were no black people in the film. I think everybody was white that was in the entire film the whole way through.
Probably somebody in that office, surely.
You'd have thought so, maybe someone in the background. None of the characters in this film were anything but white. It was all white people throughout. Tom Cruise trifecta. Nobody rode a motorcycle, but definitely running by all three of them. And I guess Mitch gets the girl at the end. I know his wife's coming to kind of tear him a new one because he lied to her, but I think he'll still get her at the end. So Tom Cruise trifecta shut out this week. Did they say the thing, City Slickers?
No.
Did they say the thing, The Legend of Curly's Gold?
No.
Correct, I said neither of those things. But did they say the thing, that one thing?
Yes.
Yeah, more than once, like 3-4
7 times they mentioned that one thing inside 2.5 minutes, as in the bit at the beginning where he's at Curly's grave was the first time they mentioned that one thing in the film. Chris, any stats from you?
Yeah, he goes hello 4 times.
Which is the thing that this film always gave me was just hello. Use it. Like Bruce was saying that he uses things from
Old School.
What is it? Yeah, Old School. This is for me is that hello.
Yeah.
Always do all the time.
I forgot to check. I had it in my notes for the first set of stickers. Was this the invention of he's behind me, isn't he? Because they do it again twice. In this. So I think it might have been the first one. Might have been the invention of he's behind me, isn't he? I thought Chris would have counted shushies in the library because I nearly did it.
I nearly did.
Yeah.
Like I watched it. I was doing it the second month. And I was like, "Fucking it!" There's a lot of shushies going here. And I was like, nobody cares about shushies.
Yeah, I thought the same. I was like, I count them. Nah, Chris will probably do it. And again, what does it really matter? There we go. All the stats. On 2.5, the 10-point podcast quiz. Andy is the quiz master. I have it on from our listeners. Apparently, that I'm not as doing badly as I thought I was this season.
All right.
Chris is not running off with the quiz by.
Well, the last week you brought it back.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, who wants to go first in the pecking order on this week's
I
quiz?
think I went first. No, I think Bruce went first.
I think I went first last time. So Chris, you can
Okay, so
pick.
Chris. Right. Chris is going to go first. This one's called City Statistics.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a number, and it's a classic game of higher or lower.
Okay.
So you'll get it as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
So these are according to the 2018 statistics in America. So it gives you a hint where we're going here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start off. New York's population is 8.399 million. Okay. So it's now a game of higher or lower.
Okay.
Is Chicago higher or lower than 8 million?
Chicago.
I'm going to say lower.
It is lower. You get a bonus point if you can get it within a close range that I agree to.
Okay, I would say 7.4 million.
It is not that, but you are correctly lower, so that's 1 point.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, is that higher or lower than Houston, Bruce?
I mean, do you not tell me how many's in Chicago, or do I just have to imagine how many people?
Yeah, you gotta imagine.
I have to, so it's
right.
right. Okay, so Chicago's lower than New York, and then I've got Houston. I'm gonna go lower again.
It is lower. What is your guess for number for a bonus point?
4,700. It's like 4 million. 4,700,000.
Yeah, right. Nope, you're wrong. So no bonus point there. Chris.
Yep.
Is Washington D.C. higher or lower than Houston?
Higher.
Wrong. It is lower. Which means Bruce gets the bonus point thrown to him. So if he can get the number, he can steal a bonus point from you. That's how it's working.
2 million dead.
No.
Done.
Right. Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Is Los Angeles higher or lower than Washington D.C.?
Higher.
It is higher. Now, your number.
What was New York? Can I ask what the original number was again?
The original number was 8.399 million.
Right. So I think it's going to be less than that, but not by much. Let's go 7.1 million.
No.
Ah.
Chris. San Diego, is that higher or lower than Los Angeles?
Lower.
It is lower. Give me a number, Chris.
I would say 5.8 million.
No. Nobody's got any of these bonus points yet.
No, we're nowhere near as well, I think.
Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville, is that higher or lower than San Diego?
San Diego, Nashville. Oh, weird set to compare. I'll go lower than San Diego.
It is lower than San Diego. Do you have a guess?
I thought you were going to start Googling there.
No. Nashville, 1.5 million.
No. Chris.
Have we been like anywhere in the
I'll
ballpark?
give you some numbers once we get to the end of
Yeah,
the
exactly. I feel like I want to know. I'm intrigued how far off we are.
San Francisco. Is that higher or lower than Nashville?
Higher.
It is higher.
I'm going to say 6.3 million.
It is not 6.3 million.
Fuck.
Chris, San Antonio, is that higher or lower than San Francisco?
San Antonio. I thought San Antonio is quite big. I could be wrong. I'll go higher.
It is higher. That's a point for you. Can you get the bonus point though?
I have no idea we are. 5 million.
It's not 5 million. Chris, Miami, is that higher or lower than San Antonio?
Higher.
It's not.
What?
Chris, for the bonus point, do you have a number?
2.258 million.
No. I'm going to be quite generous with the ranges as well, but you're not even remotely close. Bruce, Phoenix, is that higher or lower than Miami?
Lower.
It is not. Chris, chance to steal the bonus point.
Phoenix. Let's go for 1.5 million.
I will give you that.
Yes!
I will give you that. You're really close in that range. So it was 1.6 million is what I was looking
That's
for.
fair. That's fair.
So that's in the range. So now you know where the numbers are.
Okay.
Bruce.
Me.
Is
Chris.
Is Las Vegas higher or lower?
Oh, higher.
So now you know the number.
Has to
Going
be
higher? Wrong, Bruce.
So it's lower than 1.6 something million. I'll go 900,000.
Oh no, I can't give you it.
How is that not higher? There should be millions of people there.
Bruce, New Orleans, is that higher or lower than Las Vegas?
Higher.
Wrong. Chris.
400,000.
Oh, I'm going to give you it. It was 3.9 thousand. Well, 391,000.
Okay. Very close.
That was Chris is banging these ones now.
I don't know what my head is.
I know. I was thinking these ranges are way too high. Like, how are we getting millions of people in each city? This is preposterous. So.
Chris, so is Atlanta higher or lower than New Orleans?
Lower.
Wrong, Bruce.
Fuck.
2 million.
No. So we're back to the mystery guesses again. Columbus, Bruce.
Lower.
Wrong, Chris. Bonus point.
I'm going to say 1.8 million.
Wrong. And the last one for Chris. Philadelphia.
I forgot where we were now.
Is it higher or lower than Columbus?
Higher.
It is higher. Bonus point.
I'm going to say 1.4 million.
If you said 1.5, I would have gave you it, but no.
I think I must have remembered.
Oh, because it always says it on Always Sunny.
Yeah.
So basically, the rough numbers there were we went from New York, which was 8.3, then we went to Chicago, which was down to 2.7.
Oh, as far down as that. Bloody hell.
Houston was 2.3. Washington, which is where it started to fuck you really.
Well, I knew Chris was
689,000.
Yeah.
Then we went to Los Angeles, which was 4. San Diego, which was 1.4. Nashville was 6,992. San Francisco was 883. San Antonio was 1.4. Miami, which was the shocker, 470,000.
Ah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Las Vegas, which one Chris thought he'd actually split, 64,000.
Yeah, there's barely anyone.
6,044.
Oh.
Yeah, barely.
644,000. That was
in the middle of nowhere. Everyone just goes to Las Vegas. Very few people live there.
Yeah.
If I'd got my number straighter earlier, I might have been a bit better with my guess. But Chris won by a couple of points in the end there.
Oh, did I?
There you go.
I think you got the guesses on
it.
the ones that I knew. You know what I'm saying? I think if it'd come to me, I might have been.
But Chris is a city slicker. He knows his numbers.
He knows them. On to point 6 on the podcast then. Movies within movies. Over to Chris then for the 10-point podcast.
Excuse me. Well, I expect to go straight over there. Right. So we've got Billy Crystal, Daniel Stern, Jack Palance, Patricia Rettig, Noble Willingham, Lindsay Crystal, David Paymer, Josh Mostel, Jane Meadows, Alan Sharoff, and Molly McClure, all returning from the first film.
You forgot one.
Who?
Norman.
See, I wasn't sure that's the same guy.
I don't know if it is. No.
I don't know how quick cows grow because I thought about that, but I was like, I'm not sure. I'm sure
It
they
looks
grow
like-
similar.
We'll just instantly wait to pick up on Norman. Yeah.
He had a similar face. So it might have been, but I don't know.
Okay, so Billy Crystal, who was Mitch, was in When Harry Met Sally. Obviously
Which I
Harry.
think, like, don't we hand out awards for people that have turned up 3 times? Billy Crystal's now in the trifecta.
Yeah, he might be up. He's maybe he might be heading for the Hall of Fame potentially.
He's the Wesley Sniping.
It could be sniping. Yeah.
I forgot about this guy. John Lovitz was in Three Amigos.
Three Amigos. Yeah.
I have no idea who it is though. Morty.
He
Whoever that
was
is.
one of the guys in the studio. The Amigos are
Ah!
like, out of the
Yeah.
penthouse. Like he wasn't the guy on the phone, but he was the other one who was
That
there.
was the guy that
Phil Hartman
Yes.
from Survived an Axe Murderer with the story. Yeah.
And Pruitt Taylor Vince was one of the Creepy Raper guys. He was in Beautiful Creatures of all films.
So that when
Really?
he was like he's in everything. And I was like, what have we done him in? I couldn't place it, but I didn't look it up.
He was Mr. Lee, whoever that is.
Still, I think probably was one of the angry townsfolk. Or was he not? He was the parent of the girl, I think, or no, or the guy. He was a parent of like.
Oh, yeah.
But you never see
yeah.
the guy. It's sad though.
No, you're doing one of them. You see
No, we
one of
do.
the
I think he
lads.
was the parent. I think I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah, maybe I'm miles off. I'm sure he's a
Ah.
parent. Of one of the characters in it.
Have I missed anybody?
I didn't. I literally had
Just-
Pruitt Taylor Vince written underneath the whole cast, and I just left it.
All right.
I thought you would be on it.
I think I went through quite a lot of them. It's not actually that big a cast.
Yeah.
So, as for putting us in it, I'm Glen. Like, I'm forever quoting films to the point that it's annoying people. And I'm probably the one you least trust to get things done. If I say trust me, it's going to instill panic, not relief. So, I'm that guy.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, Bruce, I put you as Phil.
But yeah, I have it written down. I've no like. The only reason I've got is I'm pretty sure people just think I'm Phil. Like,
Yeah, you look
I
like,
Dan Stern, so,
yeah, that's exactly why I think I put it. Every time I see him, I think he looks like Bruce. Ah, my leg's got cramp. And since Ed's not in this film, I put Andy as Duke.
Yeah, me
I
too.
can 100% see you fucking everybody over for the gold.
Yeah, I definitely would.
I've got you as Mitch, Chris. I don't know why. Maybe it's just
I
because.
put myself as Mitch in the first time.
Maybe I don't know why.
Is that because he's a 5-second wonder in bed?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah. Family Man, probably. I think it was like Family Man. Maybe what it was. Maybe it's Family. But yeah, I had Andy as Duke. I think they worked well.
Yeah.
Andy, have you recast anybody?
Well, basically, you bring the guy from the first one back in.
Get rid of Glen.
Was all I was thinking about this film. It's like, I don't think you could remake this film in this day and age, even with like The Rock and Kevin Hart and all that. It just doesn't work anymore.
No, I don't think it would.
It's like it was a kind of one and done. I think this film proves that it was all genuinely
Yeah.
one and done. But if you were going to do a second one, the only person I would really change is you bring Thingy back in rather
Yeah.
than his brother.
Not that he necessarily ruled the first film. Not like, oh,
No,
it's so good. It's the case of, why wouldn't you? But obviously, you
it
don't
would
want to
have
be
just helped the chemistry rather than trying to bring in somebody else. Which, like I said, he wasn't bad. John Lovitz wasn't bad in any means. It's just it wasn't the
The other
same.
guy, yeah.
I'll come on to him in a second because I've got comments about John Lovitz. Not that I'm going to tear him apart or anything like that, but I'll go on to my things. I did it because they did it quite forcefully in this film. A few movie references and spoofs and all that. Godfather Part 2 quite clearly is in this film a lot. Rain Man, they outright talk about it.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So the whole dancing thing, like that's the
Yeah.
treasure of Sierra Madre. I guess that's like us referencing a film nowadays, a film like from like the 70s. Like it's an old treasure finding film. So it's like probably making a film now about it and mentioning like I don't know that Nicolas Cage treasure one. What's it like the kiddies one?
National Treasure.
National Treasure. Like mentioning something like that. Like it's like a reference that was an old movie back then, but now it's a doubly old movie even then. And then they mentioned Raiders of the Lost Ark and then walk straight into like Temple of Doom straight after it with riding in the mine carts. Just a rip from Temple of Doom and all that. So some Indiana Jones in there too. Dead Man Walking, tough. Nobody died. But Curly is literally a dead man walking when it was meant to be Curly. I thought, okay, we go. Could this movie ever come out in 1995? Well, it came out in 1995. Yes. No need to change it at all. Who's in the wrong movie? I think John Lovitz is in the wrong movie because he literally is in the like he's not meant to be in this movie.
Yeah.
And he also like he kind of also isn't in it. Like he has the longest periods where he disappears. He has no lines, he has no conversation. There's no character building, and he comes back. At one point, he comes back in out of nowhere. Oh yeah, I forgot Glen was in it, and also he always rides in the cart and never gets to ride a horse.
Yeah.
So he's definitely in the wrong movie. What happens next? They kind of do it. They kind of tell you what happens, what's going to happen next. So I reckon Ed, Bruno Kirby, learns about the whole gold and the betrayal of his friends doing this without him. So he tries to beat them to the gold at the end. He somehow gets a hold of the map.
Yeah.
So I think there's a rivalry there between them. I just remembered the Pictionary scene from the first City Slickers. I think that was City Slickers, wasn't it? Or was that when Harry met Sally? Can't remember.
Harry met Sally, wasn't it?
Played Pictionary. I really enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
Anyway, either way, Bruno Kirby goes against them. Like he feels betrayed by them. Point 7 on the 10-point podcast: the tropes that need to die. I have got a guaranteed winner here. So who wants to?
Okay. I struggled, but I put unnecessary MacGuffins.
Right.
Because like the gold, them searching for the gold is a MacGuffin. It keeps the film rolling, but there's no payout at the end.
There was actual gold.
No, because this is what they're for. It's not a MacGuffin. Like it's
See.
a MacGuffin is a thing that gets the film moving, but it's not about that. This is about the gold.
And then they found the gold.
Yeah, and they find it. Yeah. Try to think. What's the definition? What's something that's a MacGuffin?
See, I googled it, and this one keeps coming up. The fake gold.
Nah.
Fair enough.
You're wrong. The internet is wrong.
I don't think it says a MacGuffin. I think this is like the thing. The film is about.
Anyway, fake MacGuffins piss me off. Like the Death Star plans in Star Wars, and
that's a good example. Yeah.
What was the other one? I want to say Blade's Blood's a MacGuffin because they always try to get that to make them stronger, but it never happens.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. No,
I think the films will be done.
Right, anyway, let's get on to a better point. Before Bruce destroys it, I'm going to go movie maps that catch fire.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Because every damn time, and it's always a magnifying glass or always over a candle. So I did like the double bluff where the candle didn't set it off, but as soon as that magnifying glass came out, yep, it's going to catch fire.
It's always been like careless. Like I'm holding this very valuable thing, so I'm going to be looking at this other thing of
I genuinely thought he was going to set it on fire the first time in the bedroom.
But yeah, just movie maps in general, like they always, it's going to get burnt, dropped, like something. Just like put it on your iPhone or whatever now. Just there it is. It's there.
Yeah.
Good. Put it in the cloud. It's always safe in the cloud.
Safe in the cloud. Yeah. Okay, my one is guaranteed to win. This is a fact. The sequel twin needs to die. As in, you've killed off this character in the first film. Damn.
That was what I was going to put, but then I googled it.
Yeah, I don't know if it has a name or not, but yeah, damn, we want to make another film. How do we get him back? Twin brother will be fine. Everyone will get on with it. So yeah, that has to go. Like recasting the same actor to play a twin needs to go. So yeah, definitely. Point 8 on the 10-point podcast. The 10-point podcast nominations for the awards at the end of the season. Tradition says Chris goes first. He is here. He's still with us this week.
I know. Fingers crossed as well for this before I just leave. At least I'm not picking this week. So I left Best Actor blank.
Me too.
I didn't know who. Nobody
Norman.
jumped at me.
His best cameo, surely. Best animal.
That's what I put as Best Animal for. My worst actor. This is brutal, but I put Lindsay Crystal. That one little scene where she's talking to her actual dad. She was fucking horrendous.
Wow, I can't argue. It didn't jump out at me. I thought she was fine. I was probably too busy listening to Glen doing Godfather in the background, to be honest.
Best badass, Duke.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
My best support, I put John Lovitz.
I went Jack Palance because I think I enjoyed his energy.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Duke this
the man's 80-year-old and he's fucking lighting up the screen.
Oh yeah, like running around, riding a horse. He's definitely on a horse. He might not be doing some of the quick stuff, but he's definitely on a horse. So yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, my best team, I put Mitch, Glen, and Phil.
I guess so. I have to.
You'd probably add Duke to that.
Duke's more of the team in this one, definitely. I had the 4 of them.
Trey controversial, but my biggest bell end is Duke because he was a bell end.
I'm Glen because of how he is beforehand. Like they're just showing up on his birthday at his house.
That was a bell end move, yeah.
His cows and all that.
Duke, like he showed up and he was just a prick to them, and then he was going to steal the treasure from them.
No, Glen, because I never trust a man who's got a hole in his sock and walks into somebody else's house with a hole in his sock.
table.
I'm
and all.
bad for having holes in my sock, but I would refuse to take my shoes off in somebody's house if I knew I had
Yeah,
a hole in my sock.
yeah.
Even if they're like, shoes must come off, I was like, well, fuck, I'll see you later. I'm not coming in.
I can't stay by.
I know. I haven't done best villain, best death, best inanimate object.
I've got a best death. Duke and Curly's 95-year-old mother who was stabbed in a bar fight. That's
I'll give you that one. I was thinking of that one.
So what
a way to go.
Like, doesn't count as a death in the film, but that's a good death. Like,
Yeah.
and a good joke as well, I think. So
That's okay, Michael Pena award.
Ah,
It's a
yeah.
nice little story. I haven't gone for best plan. My worst plan was just aimlessly wandering around the desert hoping to find treasure.
Mine was, I'll just run off after this wild horse. What could possibly go wrong? That was
Uh-uh.
like,
That is a bad. I'll allow that one.
it's the white horse from my dreams. Gallop off. Just see you later. Bye.
I think it's the same white horse as the first film. Maybe coming back. Did you not use a white horse? Oh no, the horse. Sorry, the horse is riding on is the same one as the first film.
Right. Okay.
Whatever. There's no best weapon. My best twist that there actually was gold out there at the end.
So I went for it's all fake as the best twist. Like,
I went that as worst twist that the gold was actually fake.
okay, well, Andy, you can be the tiebreaker here. Was the fact that Adventure Day Gold Quest a good twist or a bad twist?
Well, that was a good twist, but then the double bluff of it actually being real gold was a good twist because you don't expect it at all.
Find the two then. Like, it's
Yes.
all been a fake.
It's the end.
but
It's a good twist.
Okay.
Gold is a twist.
I love
twist.
gold. My biggest jump scare was Curly's hand, zombie hand coming through and choking him. Scared the shit out of me.
That's Carrie, of course. That up as one of the films directly referenced. That happens in Carrie.
My best set, The Wilderness.
Good set, yeah.
Yeah. Just going out in the wilderness and filming the film. My best cameo was Ira and Barry from the first film.
I prefer Norman to them.
Norman.
But
I used him as the best animal.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
but
what-
Norman come out and I did not expect Norman to turn up.
Yeah, same. Like, again, I'd forgotten I was expecting him to turn up. Like, after the first film, it was like, oh, you have to have the cow in the sequel. And then I realised when he appeared, oh, yeah, I've completely forgotten about the cow.
My best fight was Duke kicking ass, like his appearance.
So I had that for best entrance, I think.
I've got that as well. As
Yeah.
best entrance, just Duke coming in.
Because all you need is like snooch to the motherfucking nooch and just him jumping off.
God's sake.
Can you imagine what 7-year-old man just saying snooch to the motherfucking my best line for some reason is you writing a book because you just ask him like a simple question and it's just like you write a book. No, I just go, okay. I just ignored the question.
The cow's name is Norman. You were pulling
Yeah.
on his dick. Just the
Yeah,
way that
I'm a
it's
Bruce.
it's so matter of factly. Because we all know, like everybody knows it was a male cow except from Glen. So
My best is done like that. And the best valued thing, gold.
the best what?
Valued thing, is that not a thing Andy made up?
Could be.
Was
don't
it?
The most valuable thing. Is that what it was?
don't think
I
that's a
think
thing
it's
I-
best valued thing. I'm
Best
sure Andy
valued?
made up one of these
I did not
things
make
a
that
while
shit
ago.
up.
Maybe.
I never.
You can nominate it if you like.
Just have to go through the archives and find it.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's it.
Not you?
Best kiss, I'll say Mitch and his wife.
Fair enough.
I haven't
Uh,
nominated kiss for a
the
while.
ones that you haven't mentioned, best inanimate object, and this is a real wild card from me. There's a sign in Mitch's office in the background. I couldn't see the whole thing, but it reads, "Please do not annoy, torment, pester, plague," and then about 6 other things underneath. It's like, I want that sign, and I want to put it on the door. I want to put it everywhere. Do not pester, annoy me, or torment me. I've got a best product placement if you don't, Andy. So I'll come back. To
See, I was going to do one.
Right. Well, we'll come to you after. You can do yours, and I'll see what if we've got the same one. Best scores getting nominated. Best song, The Godfather Waltz, with the 3 of them singing. In the night. Was really good. Done the twist. Biggest bell end at Glen. I don't know if I said that. Worst plan. Oh, worst special effects. Wouldn't mention this, but earlier, Mitch when he's chasing the
On the
map
rock.
ends up.
Oh, fucking Matt.
It was off a green screen, like well and truly. It's like what we look like on the video on YouTube. You can tell that it wasn't
Yep.
really the background that's behind him.
We're actually in the sets here.
Oh yeah, sorry, we're actually in the wilderness here. Yes, I'll leave my product placement till Andy's had a pop at it. So on you go, Andy.
Well, I got 2. So originally it was going to be the New York Yankees, like just the baseball cap, like you're wearing.
Well,
'cause
it's actually the Mets. So
whatever. Either way, the New York hat. But my one's actually the Mirage.
Ah, okay.
I don't know what you've got. Just purely because I was in Vegas, and then as soon as I went to see that volcano going off, so it worked. I wanted to go to the Mirage. So
For
that was a
me,
product placement that worked for me.
For me, it was his phone starts ringing in the wilderness, and it cuts to his waistband. It's just like
AT&T.
I was like, hey, there we go, product placement. So that was why it really jumped out at me. But the Mirage is as bold, like it's the Mirage in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Any other nominations from you, Andy?
No, I think guys covered it all off.
Else on to point 9, the moral of the story. Andy, why don't you hit us with your one first?
$3.99 all you can eat buffets. What a way to live.
Vegas, what a great place. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, they're not that price these days.
I bet not. No. What about you, Chris? What's your moral of the story?
Yeah, don't call your partner's work to make a sexy phone call.
Oh my God, yeah, very good. I went for the one that they tried to tell us in the film is the moral story, which is honesty and integrity. They are like the two things, isn't it? Honesty and integrity. It's like, you're telling me that. I'm not sure the film explores that, but at the end, you try to tell me that's what the moral of the story was. The 10th point is a 10-point rating on the podcast here. Chris, you picked it, so you rate it first.
It's definitely not as good as the first one. Like I would have preferred, like without the search for gold, just instead of it being Mitch's, like trying to find his smile, it's now Phil because he's in a dark place in this one. So.
He really is. It really should be more about him, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought like getting him back into his groove, I thought would have been a lot better. Yeah. But like, it's all right. I mean, Duke, Curly, whatever you want to call him, okay, makes it what it is, and like you say, it's pretty much the exact copy of the first film, so it gets a 5 from me this time. It's just average.
I've got me as going next. I'm not sure why. I've got, in some ways, it's probably better than the original. I don't mean in some ways it's better. I just mean in some aspects it's better than the original. But the first one has more, I don't know, weight to it, and I feel like it's actually Billy Crystal in the first film is exploring something and achieving something, and this one is just, we'll go out in the wilderness again, enjoyed our time there. But it's the same. To me, it's the same. Like, I cannot really separate them. Andy got confused, said it seen this one before and that. To me, it's the same film, just like double length. It all adds up. Nothing feels too out of place, even though Glen's not really meant to be there. So I'm giving it a 5, which is what I gave the first City Slickers, because it's fine. It's not bad, but it's not great either. So a 5 from me as well. What about you, Andy?
I'm pretty much the same, because it is the same film as the first one. The first film is slightly better. I can't actually remember what I rated the first one, but I'm giving this a 5 as well.
A 5 from Andy, so it's quite clearly a 5 overall. We've all given
so imagine Andy gives the last one a 4. I've
got the scores from the first one. We gave it a 6, so we think City Slickers 1 is better by just 1 point. I gave it a 5 both times. Chris has gone from a 6 to a 5. He thought the first one was a 6. Andy thought the first one was an 8. You gave it.
Told you it was a banger.
So you clearly think the first one was better. So yeah, on the weight of Andy's vote, City Slickers 1 is better than City Slickers 2. But I think it's fine. There's nothing.
It's pretty much the same film, but it's nothing groundbreaking.
It could almost being a bit funnier, but that might have aged. Might have been the difference. Chris's theme then. This is the third time Chris has picked a film this season. City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold, Clerks 2, and Catch Me If You Can, and the letter C is also not his theme, I believe, because they all start with the letter C.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But that's not his theme. So he says something to do with gold was important. So Catch Me If You Can, is it like this striving for wealth? Is it wealth or something like that?
No.
Is it people that hate their jobs and want something better?
No.
Is it opening up a thing and there's lots of money in it?
No.
Is it donkey shows?
What the fuck you get donkey show in this one?
Oh, there's donkeys.
Donkey.
Oh, I thought there were horses pulling his cart.
Well, there was definitely a donkey at some point. I think it might be one pulling his cart.
Yeah, there were donkeys pulling his cart.
Yeah.
Were they?
I think so.
Yeah.
So Chris has given us clues, and I can't really connect them other than that, unfortunately. So.
I will give you like a major clue in the last one.
Cool. I think this is now the longest Chris has gone without us knowing exactly what.
I know it's better.
I know, normally fucks up straight away.
Okay.
I generally thought I told one of you at some point, but
you might have drunkenly Andy's wedding told me, but I'll probably.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I've gone from my memory if you did. So speaking of themes, I don't have one. I'm just picking random films I want to do on the podcast. So it's me next time, and I'm quite glad you went where you did, because it means that mine's a bit more original, because we were really getting bogged down in very similar things that linked to my film to the point I had to move it. It and John Malkovich were meant to be the other way around. So 2002 sci-fi is where we're going.
Ooh.
It has now been at least a week since we mentioned Steven Spielberg on the podcast, so I can safely now pick another Steven Spielberg movie, because that's why I had to move it last time, was we were all bogged down in Spielberg. And it's a real opportunity for the Tom Cruise trifecta, because Tom Cruise is in it.
Oh, this is one of my picks.
I think I've only seen it.
Carry on.
I think I've only seen it once, and I mentioned it quite. It's another one. It's a popular culture common reference. Minority Report.
Yeah.
I really want to watch it again and kind of watch it and remember it, basically. So,
this was on my list, not for this season, but it was on my list for one of them.
Yeah, this was also what I mentioned a few weeks ago. Like, it was on a wheel somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's my next pick. So yeah, Minority Report, a bit of sci-fi from the 2000s, a big departure from City Slickers 2.
And it's not a comedy.
Not a comedy. We can stop kind of lolling and laughing at comedies every week now and get on with some proper sci-fi, I don't know, proper meanings. There'll be a real moral to this story, I would imagine. So that's what you've got to find in the next 7 days, and we'll check you out and see that next time on the 10 Point Podcast.